Hi YouTube, how's it going? So today I'm actually going to be going over one of I think the best hot fixes that we've had now. As of the new 8.0 update, after the major update when I made the video for, they have made a lot of hot fixes, but I think this one that they just came out this morning is probably one of the best ones that we have, especially since it fixed one of the most controversial changes in the Phasmo community that a lot of people disliked, and they have finally gotten rid of it. And you probably know what I'm talking about, but that is the custom reward change. So as most people probably know, they at one point reduced the custom difficulty rewards to negative 80% payout, which basically meant you only got in 20% of the rewards. And they did this mainly because of the people who were trying to just like abuse the system and get a lot of money and a lot of XP without really even actually playing the game, finding the ghosts and whatever. So I think as of right now, they have finally done it in the fact that they finally stopped people from doing that, and I don't think they can really abuse it anymore. And at the same time, people who are actually using the custom difficulties, mainly like the higher up players who are using it just to actually challenge themselves, now will actually get a respectable payout, as well as the other people who are doing difficult challenges every now and then will actually now get the payout that they deserve instead of like basically getting nothing. They did also ended up reducing it to 60%, but as of right now, they actually changed the system entirely to balance everything out. But yeah, regardless, I will be going over the hot fix for today. I'll try and make this video a lot shorter than the major update, which lasted an hour. So let's get into it. So welcome back. We've got an update for you. Reward changes. Firstly, we would like to apologize. In our haste to remove money and XP farmers from the game, we penalized our custom difficulty goers way too harshly and bypassed the core concept of what I'll just say custom difficulty was originally advertised as, which was play your way. And I think that's exactly what every custom difficulty should be. In the long term, we'll be rebalancing the entirety of the custom difficulties rewards multipliers to make sure that they are fairer, not overly rewarding when lower risk is taken, and stop cheesy tactics to farm easy rewards. Today, we're removing the 60% reduction for custom games and adding the following until rebalancing is finalized earlier next year with 8.1, which is another major update incoming. Probably sometime within the new year in like January. So custom reward multipliers will now have a maximum cap of 15x instead, and displayed with the actual multiplier beside it in the brackets. So you can see right here, even if you went for the 24x challenge, your reward payout would be 15x. But I would think you still get the trophy because it does count in that it is still the 24x, so you wouldn't have to worry about that. Incorrectly identifying the ghost type will lower your multiplier to the next difficulty, rounding down. Example, 5x goes to 4x, and 3.7x goes to 3x. So that's really nice right there. So that basically stops a lot of the people like abusing the XP farm and whatnot. Looking at it now, I'm not sure if it stops really the one on Sunny Meadows that people were doing. And I know for a fact there still is going to be some. I don't think it will stop the XP farming entirely. I'm not looking at it on paper. I'm not too sure if it actually stops the if it actually does stop the Sunny Meadows thing. And I know it won't stop ones where it's like a way harder version of like 3 evidence, which is probably still going to be a higher multiplier than an actual hard challenge like 0 evidence. But because of the decreased multiplier, where the cap is now basically 15x, like even if they do stuff like that, they won't really be able to. It'll take way more time to get the money and the XP that they originally would have wanted. And to be honest, I think this is all right as of now, considering I think 8.1 is going to be the progression update or something like that. I'm pretty sure. So all of the money and the XP will be reset anyway, so it's not too big of a problem. And not only that, I don't really think they would mind if it ends up still being some big XP farm. because at least it's not going to hurt the players who are actually going for harder challenges. And like it said in here, they are going to be rebalancing everything. So I think I was right on my first video in the fact that they just wanted to get rid of stuff like fast and just wanted to stop people from farming. So they just did like a hot fix for the 80%. Like I'm sure they ended up, and then I'm sure they ended up realizing, of course, which they did, that that's not what they should have done. But I think it was like the only thing that they really could do in the time that they were trying to push out the update before Christmas with the challenge and everything. So it's nice to see that they finally did come back around to that. Obviously, being with all of the reactions from everyone, even some to the point where I heard where they just stopped playing the game entirely, which I think is a bit overkill in my opinion. I don't know why you would like. I mean, the devs are amazing people, so I figured like something like this wasn't going to last long. And as we see, like it was only a matter of like a week before they actually changed it to this, and it will probably be a matter of like 2 to 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks from when the new update comes out, in which the whole system will be rebalanced entirely. So I would say that they'd have to quit this game, but nice to see that hopefully they'll come back. I would think so. They definitely would. And there's a reason why I always still stayed, because I knew the Phas devs will always come around. Their team is just amazing. Props to them. So next changes. I think these are actually some of the spicy ones. So changes. Some Ouija board questions have had their sanity reductions increased as they were too powerful for the sanity trade-off. So ghost location and bone location are now 50%, putting you basically in hunting range of every ghost except for like the Mare with the lights on and the Mare with lights on, Diogen, and obviously a reduced they. But to be honest, you would be asking all those questions. Although to be honest, you'd be asking some of these questions at the beginning of the game, so they would obviously basically, except for like 3 ghosts, but mainly like 1 being the shade, and then actually it's like 2 ghosts. So like it'll basically just put you in hunting range, like you're gonna be in danger. So I think it's at the point where it would still be like useful, but like it would basically now be at the point where like once you ask the board the question, you're gonna have to take like at least 1 sanity pill or 2 to restore. Basically, they're forcing like a sanity pill trade-off with these questions, and I think that's pretty good, considering, especially on larger maps where like it could take you a long time to ask it's basically just punishing those people who asked where the ghost is and are, I don't want to say too lazy, but they just go in, ask the ghost, and get confirmation instead of actually looking for it. Me personally, I've never really used the board except for on larger maps to find it, so I definitely think it's more of a trade-off for those larger maps. Considering it's now going to separate the people who are really good at finding the ghost room, whereas the ones who aren't so good. And the fact that now if they use the board, they get a little bit more punished. So I think it's pretty alright, especially the bone. Like so many people would ask the bone on larger maps, and I think especially the bone trade-off is really good, considering that on larger maps it now gives a lot more money, almost as much as like the ghost room, getting the ghost on a large map. So yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good train. And then the next one I actually really like a lot as well is the Haunted Mirror. So the Haunted Mirror, I mean, you could read the text, but basically the Haunted Mirror is changed so they don't want people peeking at the mirror for like a second and only losing like 7.5% sanity just to find the ghost room. So instead, now what they're doing is the sanity drain is per use. So it's a minimum of 20 sanity per use. And also, and then from there, you can look through the mirror and actually see it. So basically, now what you want to do is, instead of looking at the mirror for a second to find out where the ghost is, you now basically just want to look through it in its entirety. I'm not too sure, like, exactly what the trade-off is, where, like, I don't know if you can look in the mirror forever, in the sense of, like, how do I word this? Like there's like a 20% minimum, right? But I don't know if that means like if you look through the mirror forever that it will always be 20%, or at some point like it will start adding that 7.5 per second, like once you cross the 20% barrier. Which if I do a little bit of math, let me just see. 20 divided by 7.5 per second. So it's around 2.6. So yeah, like what I'm saying is like if you were to look at the mirror for like 3 seconds, will it then start adding on more sanity, or could you literally just look at the mirror forever and try and figure out exactly what the ghost room is? Even though you're only get 20. I think it's the latter of the decisions where I think you can just look at the mirror for as long as you want, but just note that every time you use it, it's 20%. Which I think is pretty good, considering that the mirror in some cases can tell you what the ghost room is, but on other maps it really can't tell you what the ghost room is. Like for example, on high school, like if it's like a classroom, the mirror's not going to tell you exactly what classroom is, which is why it's only 20. Whereas the Ouija board will tell you exactly what classroom it is, which would be 50. All right, so next will be the freezing breath. They pretty much decrease the how massive the breath is so it doesn't take up your entire screen. I'm hoping they still keep it to where it's like fairly visible now, where like it's still like visible. I personally didn't mind it being as big as it was because I could still see through it, and if anything, it just told me okay, it was freezing. I did think it was a little bit too much. So hopefully my hope is they turn it down a bit. I haven't actually played yet, but I will be streaming it sometime today or later tonight. So I'll see exactly all of like what these changes are. But yeah, Smudge Stick will now visually animate much more accurately with the timing of their gameplay effect. I actually like this because um, in the past, the Smudge Stick burning was always just kind of like a set animation. But in reality, like it actually lasted, I think, a little bit longer than what the animation showed. So now that'll be nice that it will be a little bit more accurate to the actual smudge stick burning. So I'm pretty sure they just like they just tweaked with some timing and stuff. They improved the smudge stick smoke effect. I think the smoke effect was already fine, but hopefully it doesn't become overkill like the freezing breath kind of was. Like I hope it doesn't like blind your vision. But I personally, I think they probably just tweaked it up a little bit, so it's just a little bit more noticeable. But I'm hoping they didn't overkill it. Adjust several inconsistent text capitalizations in English, okay, and rebaked Sunny Meadows. What is that? I don't know what that means by rebaked Sunny Meadows. I don't know what they did there. What does rebaked mean? Let me see. No Google. We're not looking for cooked by dry heat oven. Yeah, no, that's definitely not it. Intoxicated by alcohol. Yeah, no, that's definitely not what we want either. I'm gonna say I hope they didn't like change some things with Sunny Meadows. Maybe that's what they're saying is they changed some stuff. So maybe we might have to look at that as far as what they changed, or maybe rebaked as in like visual effect wise. You know what? It's probably visual effects because I did notice that like with the new visual changes, like Sunny Meadows kind of looked a little bit more. I don't really know what the word was. It's like duller or something. It just didn't look as good anymore compared to the old. Like the green kind of got washed out, and it started to look like the old Asylum, where it just was kind of like gray everywhere. So maybe maybe rebake means like recolored. I'm not too sure. I'm sure it might be like an art term or something that I'm not too sure of. But fixes, they removed some several skylight leaks, which were happening on a lot of maps. Dots and deaths. I like this one though. The reset save button will now actually work. That's funny. Sandy will no longer stop draining when you're in the area. Thank you. Snow and Boostdale. This was so. Here's the thing, right? Uh, if you saw my stream, I actually was doing a zero evidence run, and I did it in the 8.0 update, and I didn't realize that that Oni and Phantom blinking were like completely screwed up, as well as sanity drain would happen in a lit area, which led to me always thinking of it being like kind of an early hunting ghost, and I was starting to question it for a bit because I remember standing in lit areas, like, and I knew I was in lit areas, and I always just found it weird how like all of a sudden the ghost would hunt, but it was like a normal ghost and it wasn't a demon. after work because I was like, why is that the case? So yeah, like the lit area didn't really work, and I'm not even sure if I think the candle did work. I'm not too sure, but the lit area didn't. Or who knows? I think with this that the candle worked, but the lights were definitely not definitely weren't working no matter where you were. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank God I made this only 15 minutes. Instead of the longer one. But I think this is just a very nice change when it comes to the reward multiplier. So they finally did it justice. I still think some people could definitely abuse the XP and the money, but I like the fact that they're not really caring too much now. Like they did reduce it so that you're not getting like insane money in XP, but I think they still could abuse it. They just won't be able. They just will have to put in more time and effort to actually get more money in XP compared to before. And more importantly, everyone who was using it for its actual intent is now going to benefit from it now, like how they used to. Like they're actually going to get the justice that they're actually going to get the rewards that they deserve. And more importantly, they're going to be changing everything in the future on the 8.1 update. So we're going to see completely different things. So whereas some things that weren't increasing the difficulty as much, for example, like the number of evidence the ghost would show, which I know at 0 evidence would cap at like 7.5 or so on Nightmare if you took it like straight from Nightmare, which is only like a 3.5 increase, which is like ridiculous compared to how much modifiers you could tick and still have a 3 evidence run that had like 2 or 3 times as much difficulty. So I think stuff like that, like the evidence is definitely going to be thrown way up. Like a 0 evidence run, I wouldn't be surprised in the future on the 24x scale becomes like a 10 plus run, even with normal Nightmare, which is probably what it should be because 0 evidence is a pretty hard challenge and it does take a lot of time and knowledge and to do compared to some of those other ones that were like those like 12 14x runs that people were doing. So I'm hoping stuff like that gets changed around, whereas other stuff like not using a flashlight is like that doesn't really get increased a lot. It's stuff like that, right? That it's stuff that actually makes the game challenging is what they should be increasing the ward for, or what will actually make the investigation time longer. Or more, yeah, pretty much anything that's going to put you more in danger, like starting sanity or um, things like that versus things that aren't actually going to put you in danger. I hope that they increase those and then decrease the others. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. But I think we're gonna end this video off just so that stays in a pretty short range. And I'd say that's about it. So thank you, devs, for honestly changing this as for someone who wants to end up and probably has been doing and will probably now do like some 0 evidence and 1 evidence. I can now finally keep doing that, like how I did before, and actually get my worthy rewards for it, compared to when the change happened. As well as with all the new bug fixes, I should be doing that sometime tonight. I've been holding off on it again, mainly just because I wanted to make sure that all the bugs and everything were gone, which now, especially with the sandy and the lit rooms, I'm definitely going to be returning to those. Um, so yeah, it was a nice break, but then we'll get on the serious grind and stuff then. So see you guys. Look out for a stream tonight, and I'll be and whatnot. I'm also gonna try and upload and get ready some other videos, considering I'll be going on vacation really soon. So I'm gonna try and make some videos to try and put out during then, so I have some content to give to you guys. Now that I'm on break for college, I'm gonna try and upload more and all that stuff. So stay tuned. Feel free to subscribe if you want to stay tuned for more content. If you like videos like these, make sure to hit the like button, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, everybody.